Meeting is now streaming live on custom live streaming service.
Yeah, I think we're going
Yeah.
to get that 20-second pause. So, well, welcome, Chris.
Hi, hi.
Um, I just got to say it. My friend Sally, who wants to watch this streaming, just tried to enter our Zoom. I don't need another person in our Zoom. Thank you,
Uh,
Sally. That was fun, but it's the wrong thing. That thing, just to keep us on our toes.
okay, yeah, yeah.
So, folks, this is Road Trip to Fairfax. This is episode 5. We have done 5 weeks in a row now. I'm so proud of us.
Uh-huh.
I'm Harmony Gates, and this is Chris Garnica, and we are dance buds and road trippers and head trippers and mostly heart trippers. And today, yes, there you are. You got my cue. Um, last week we wild rode a bit. I enjoyed it, and it was pretty high energy. And I'm hoping that today we can bring it back into a little calmer, maybe even a little deeper place. That's my intention. And
Mhm.
so I'm going to start with you, Chris, to share. I got a phone call just 20 minutes ago, I guess, um, out of the blue from someone who I won't give his name because he didn't give me permission, and I didn't say I was going to talk about him here, but he's a dance friend, um, an ecstatic dance friend who I've known for at least 10 years. He does some contact improvisation. I've done some contact with him, been in different settings. And when we're in ecstatic, we have these very deep and connected, we move into contact at least with the hands, as long
Mhm.
as you might even recognize him as a big, tall guy. Uh, and so I'm preparing for this little time with you, the podcast, and I'm actually, full disclosure, sewing for a new thing for my ear thing because the last one just dissolved. The foam was dissolved. So I was on the
Yeah.
sewing machine
Ah.
making a little thing there. And and the phone rang and I missed it, but then I picked it up and it was him and he was taking a walk in his Concord neighborhood. And I don't even remember how we introduced it, but I said, what prompted you to call me? He said, it was thinking of me. And he said, well, because you said something to me that I think is the most profound thing I've ever heard in my life. It doesn't surprise me, but kind of does, I have to say, because he's a very unique and kind of creative thinker, integrated thinker like me. The times we've talked, it's deep and it's very, I would use the word spiritual, except that's so overused. And I said, well, what was it that I said? And he said, I'm going to paraphrase here, something like, well, if thinking got you stuck, you can't use thinking to get yourself out of it. And I said, yep, that's because, we have so much more wisdom in our bodies and we get locked in our thoughts, right? And then we lose all the wisdom and information that we have when we get quiet and we listen inside,
Mhm.
right? And we talked quite a bit. And at the end, I said, I had this thought this morning that occurred to me that now I don't want to disparage science. Let me just say that up front. Science has its place, but it's like we've been trained to think that we should trust science. And what we give up when we trust science like that is we give up trusting ourselves and looking inside ourselves for our truth and for our answer.
Mhm.
So it's like I might eat something and say, gee, I wonder if this is healthy for me. And instead of just listening to my body and feeling into it and feeling how we look it up on the internet, is this good food to eat? What does science say? How many calories? When should you eat it? Right? It's this whole sort of separation
Yeah.
between us and our Yeah, ourselves and our inner, like, when we go inside and look, not with our head, but with our essence. I don't know how to say it. It's like that's when I get inspiration, and I have to slow my thinking down to get there. If
Hmm.
I'm trying to figure it out with analysis, it just goes and goes and goes and goes, and there is no ultimate answer. But when I get it inside, I get a feeling like, oh, and it's like, oh, I know what feeling home feels like.
Yeah, the that just completely resonates with me. And when you tell me about that, what I think about is, I mean, 2020 was a wild year for all of us, but I imagine many of us learned some valuable lessons, a lot of takeaways, and still doing so. And I got to tell you, the number one thing that I took away from 2020: listen to your gut. Listen to what your body's telling you. Listen to you, and it could be anywhere from eating an apple to decide to walking down this particular path. And if your body hits that pause, and you don't know what, you don't know why, but you feel it. It's a
Right.
feeling. That's why it's hard to put it into words, is because it's
Yeah.
not really a word. It's a feeling. You should start
Yeah.
listening to that.
Yeah.
And and I think there's just been a lot of potential self-doubt that's been filled in us, just because of so much just like out there. I don't even want to put it in words, but
Yeah.
that
No, yeah.
it creates self-doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It
you got to bring
does.
that back.
It
Got to bring
does.
that back.
It does. And self-doubt, it's like pouring battery acid on yourself. It just eats away at even our capacity to trust and believe that we we know. We know.
How many times have you done that, where you look at something and say, if I don't take care of that right now, that's going to fall off the side and hit there, or whatever it is. And then it happens, and it's like, that's what you tell yourself. I knew better. It's
Yeah.
like, how did I let myself? It's like you're almost giving yourself a lecture. It's like, how could you? How
Yeah.
could you do this when you knew? And it's that listening part, and to be able to act on it
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Trust it,
Easier
value
said
it.
than done.
It's like usually it's a dope slap.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of how I learned too, because I don't know if I would know if that intuition was right, except that when I don't trust it, sure enough, bad shit happens basically. It may not huge bad shit, but even little bad shit, you know, yeah. To the nth degree of, I have noticed I'm at this kind of nuanced level. So if I'm on my way to do something and I have a distracting thought like, oh, maybe I should do that first, or not like an intuition, but sort of like already like I did it wrong, like like that little bit of immediately I'll bump something, I'll lose my balance, I'll, knock something over. It's like so fast. I'll be like,
Mhm.
yep, okay. I had a thought that was so fleeting, but I let my attention go there just for this fleeting moment that was less than I'm fine. I'm on my, ooh, right? Right.
A lot of
Mm.
times it can be as easy as that, though. It's just telling yourself that you're going to be just fine.
Well,
It's like,
that
it's
I
worked
am
for me.
fine.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am, it's like not because it's almost like this future worry. Like, what if, but I am fine right now. That worry hasn't happened. My mind's out there trying to like somehow do something to control something. I am not, it's not sitting in front of me yet. There is absolutely nothing I can do except when I worry, then I can't even do what's in front of me.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right? Because I'm
That
too, yeah.
that can be a common occurrence in like a corporation, for example, when you're going, just in my own personal experiences, when you're going through all these like crazy radical changes, and it's all cyclic. I always have a hard time saying this word. It's always cyclical.
Cyclical. I'll say it for you.
No, wait, no.
Oh, circular?
Cyclical. Yeah, no. It's a
Cyclical.
cycle. I don't
Okay.
know why. For some reason, I've not been able to say that darn word lately. Secular.
There's all
Secular. Anyway,
probably a good reason.
I'm gonna have to practice that one because that's gonna get on me. That's gonna get on my nerves because I like using that a lot. But the whole point that I bring that up is you get a lot of people who are distracted with, oh my God, what's gonna happen to me? What's gonna, the layoffs are coming, and they spend all their time talking about the what ifs and stressing about it and not doing their job. And what ends up happening is they end up getting let go. But it was just because of their performance and managers having to make a decision, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because then they're like, see, I told you so.
Yeah.
And I've always personally been a huge proponent of don't stress until it's time to stress.
Yeah.
Like there's a time and place for it. Don't worry. Absolutely legit. But going back to what you're saying, there's nothing I can do about this right now. It's like, why bother? And I fully recognize easier said than done. I want to recognize that, but it works.
The AA little thing, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty apropos.
It is.
In every area.
Yeah. That's a solid saying. I like that saying.
And really, it's a matter of catching the habit too, because we get a habit of worrying. And then it's just like who we are. And see, worrying, another one. Why are you hitting yourself? No, what is it? Why are you banging on the side of the car? Because it keeps the elephants away, Because of course there are no I don't remember how that goes.
Wow, that was
that one. Erase that one. It's something about that. Like when you anyway. Yeah, well, that's because it's 7:00 at night.
It is.
The brain cells are going to sleep early. Well, I have permission to get lost in my own wherever I was going because I didn't have it yet.
Full permission.
See? I can even
full permission.
Awesome.
We do it on the road all the time, just get distracted by something like, oh, what was that? Or that sign, or did you see that? What were we talking about?
Yeah. What? Okay. I guess I'm human. Yeah, right. All right. So I, full confession, talked to Chris a little bit earlier today to find out if I could open this topic. I don't even know if this topic's going to be open because frankly, this is totally improvised. Get a direction and just keep steering, right? And see where we go.
There's construction.
But I was thinking about a couple things in our earlier podcast, two different things and maybe how they do or don't connect or have some relatedness to each other. And one is where I told our audience, like, as much as I totally love connecting with people and partnering on the dance floor, like I live for that. I just kind of go from person to person. I know how to solo, but I love the engagement that I can't drag you into that. That's not your thing. You will not do it. So that piece, plus then I talked about the biohack of smiling. And no, it wasn't the biohack of smiling. See, self-correction. It was the eye contact. We talked about going to
yes.
And how, we could do this gazing with strangers. And you're like, well, I wouldn't do it with strangers. I might do with you, Harmony, because I trust you and we have this rapport. But I'd never do that with strangers, right? And I was thinking about it. It's like, yeah, even when I connect with someone on the dance floor, by the time we are touching and they're a brand new person I've never danced with, we really aren't strangers. We've gone through progression of communication to a place where there's enough trust that when I now invite into the touch level, which is usually me inviting, they've seen me and been with me, and we've kind of, tasted each other in and out of different circumstance, even on the dance floor, to where now there is enough trust to begin that little bit deeper, more intimate space with someone. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't come out of nowhere. It's not like I just walk up to someone and immediately start touching them and dancing with them. They don't know me. So I was curious because I wanted to see if we could do some inquiry about what would it take for you to trust, or what is it you need, or what are you not wanting on the dance floor, or like what's the kind of barrier, whatever, all those words, they all sound a little negative, and I don't mean it to be that way, but it's kind of like what's going on for you, and you know, yeah, that you're pretty clear that partner dancing, at least, we'll keep it in that realm, is not something that you are comfortable with and want to engage in.
Yep. Yeah, I think that was a nice recap. That was really you really, yeah, you dialed in very well on that one.
Thank you.
So, well, where would you like to start? Anywhere in particular?
Well, let's take a moment and ask your body. And then wherever that wants to start, and any place you come up with is perfect.
Sure. Yeah, I'd like to. So I think a little background would help as far as just my experience in a dance environment for, I would say, since at least my mid to late 20s. I've been dancing primarily in nightclubs and raves. Kind of got into the rave scene a little late, but that sort of environment, and 1015 Folsom in the city was like, I mean, I had my thing down where it was like Thursday night bubblegum sci-fi, Friday night Future Fridays at the Maritime Hall, Saturday night release at 1015 Folsom, and then sometimes if it was a big weekend, then Spunday back at 1015 Folsom. So
Wow.
a lot of heavy dancing, but I'm just going to go ahead and say more generally like a
Let's
club and
pause.
environment. Oh, sure,
Yeah,
sure.
pause,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
I want all that, and then I want to know. So I've never been to any of those, and I want to hear what that is. Like, however you want to describe that experience or any of those, or sort of what's common about them all. So I get a sense of when you walk into that kind of club environment, what's there for you, or what's around you.
Yeah, it's loud, it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of activity going on, and
Activity,
it's
dancing, other
just, yeah,
activity.
dancing. No, 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 not like that. I don't mean like that. I just meant
No,
more
no,
like
I'm actually asking you
yeah,
to slow down and just tell me. It's because I'm like, treat me like I'm 5 years old, and you're
sure,
just
sure.
describing this to me. Yeah.
Well, and I think I'm going to stick with clubs for now. The rave thing, I think we'll just kind of go off on a tangent there, just because there's so many different layers and what have you. But I think the clubbing is going to work for a great example.
Good.
And so if the type of nightclubs that I would like to go to typically have bars or multiple bars. They have a dance floor or multiple dance floor, all playing electronic dance music,
Mm-hmm.
but of different genres. And
Okay.
so if you go with a group of people, and that's what I liked about 1015 Folsom, is it was it was, well, it still is, 3 levels, and at least 3 to 4 dance floors. I'm losing 1, 2, 3, 3 to 4. So there's a lot of variety. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Different
right.
dance, like different genre in each
Yeah,
room,
different
or
genre.
okay.
Like, yeah,
So you
you go
enter a
down to,
different world each time. Yeah. I
yeah,
got it.
yeah,
Okay.
different and different
Mhm.
regulars. Like if you go to different areas,
Ooh.
we were regulars in the main room, even though I like the upstairs room because the genre of the beat was a little bit slower,
Mm-hmm.
and it allowed me more like room to navigate with my freestyle dance.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, and as far as like lots of activity, it's just people socializing, people having drinks, trying to order up at the bar, some people up in the DJ booth because they know the DJ, and then in where my common area was is front left speaker, and it would be me and at the time my wife.
Uh-huh.
And then it would be our friends who would trickle in because San Francisco is kind of a hub. So you'd have
Mm-hmm.
friends that I'd get to see that would come from like
Mm-hmm.
Pacifica, from San Jose, all over the place, and we'd all congregate together. And when we would dance, we'd dance together, but more in like a group setting. And then
Like a pod, like just kind of
yeah, like a
within
pod. Yeah,
periphery of each
yeah,
other. Like we're occupying this 10-foot little circle space or something.
yeah,
Like I'm
yeah, yeah,
guessing at the
yeah.
size, but and then you're all kind of like familiar. You're with people that are around you, so you've got a little like Yeah. Did I
Yeah,
catch
yeah,
that?
you're
Yeah.
doing, yeah, you
Uh-huh.
absolutely did. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
you're doing your fist bumping, your head, bobbing
Like,
and
yeah.
shaking your butt and doing all that good stuff. But for me and my experience, and I'm going to comfortably say for 2 decades,
Wow.
yeah, of like some pretty solid clubbing,
Hmm.
I always enjoyed dancing by myself. Now,
Mm.
perhaps it could be that I just never really have taken any formal dance lessons. I've never really like connected with that whole like partner dance,
Hmm. Yeah.
but also too when I'm in the club, I'm very hot. So there's that. And so
So you're having
context is
kind of a
helpful.
inner experience, pretty inner as well as movement experience. Is that,
Yeah,
so you're
yeah.
not so, you're kind of having a little altered state, interior journey-ish thing
hmm
going on. Yeah.
Many
Yeah.
of many of us are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like challenging for me to focus and try to dance and partner with somebody else. And mind you, I was married to my ex-wife. We were married 14 years, and
Hmm.
14 years of doing a lot of stuff together. And when we danced together, we'd kind of like dance to the side. But it was also that I had a partner for 14 years that kind of felt the same way that I did.
So
So
let me
we,
stop you
yeah,
because I
yeah.
want to get clarity there. So you would be next to your wife
hmm
as a partner on the dance floor, um, and you were both comfortable with that. So you were together, but just not facing each other, touching or, partnering, but just like, hey, we're both, it's like side by side,
hmm
both enjoying and sharing the experience. Are you saying that you wouldn't then for sure, not only with her for some reasons, but then venture out and find a different partner on the floor? Is that part of what you're talking about or
Yeah.
not?
No,
Yeah.
no, I am. So I
Yeah.
never would. I never would. So it was
As
not
you're
only
with her,
something.
that's your wife and yeah,
Yeah, I'm not going
part
to
of
go
it
look
is
to dance with other people. But even if I was single, I think arguably there's a good chance that I wouldn't. I really
for the
wouldn't
other
either.
reasons. Yeah. For some of
Yeah,
the other
yeah,
reasons that you mentioned.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
now here we go with a little, just a quick little sidetrack as far as how I met my ex-wife. I keep saying that. Aren't I supposed to just say her name? Wasn't
You
that
could say
cool?
her name
Yeah.
if it's
Okay.
okay
I
with
think
her
it's
and
cool.
you.
Yeah. Well, she can. I mean, what? I think she'll be fine with
I
it.
don't know.
I
She
just
can
hate
burn
saying
you
that
up
over and over again.
on social media or something, but
Yeah.
hopefully she won't. Yeah.
Nah, no. It's gonna be cool. But anyway, where was I going with that?
You were going to
So
say her
the,
and say how you met
the
her.
yeah. So anyway, I met her in a rave, and I really wanted to impress her, so I did a little dance. But the one time that I actually did like actually pursue somebody in a club and do my little thing and dance with
Ended
them
up in
was
marriage. Yeah.
ended up in marriage. Yeah, yeah,
That's a
right.
pretty
So
direct line, right? Oh, if I dance with
yes,
someone, I'm married to them. You got it.
yeah, right. So
I'm
watch
making
out.
light, but
Watch
I get
out.
it,
Watch
right?
out. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. So if you see me dancing with you,
yeah.
uh-oh.
Once I open up to
Da-da.
that, I'm toast. I'm there for a
Yeah,
while,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But even then, we also had a really solid relationship where like I was mentioning, I like the upstairs room because it was a different genre of house music. And
Hmm.
so a lot of times she would stay down on the main floor with, I mean, all our friends are there.
Your
And then I
group
would
still
venture
with
up.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
still with people. And then I would venture upstairs and do my own thing and be up there for, sometimes half the night to up to all the night. So,
I see that as pretty awesome because you can go with your partner and you go to a shared activity and yet have pretty different experiences, but all in the same location. It isn't like you have to do her through her through her through her you, you can and there's enough different flavors that you can have an apart experience together, sort of. And
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
right, right,
yeah.
right, right.
Awesome. Awesome. Got it. Got it. Mm.
So that's basically the background of it all is that it's like my talk about setting an intention. My intention when I
Hmm.
would go to the club would be to just dance as hard as I possibly can and just rock it out in. And I've listened to electronic types of music my whole life and have really developed what I think an ear for it. So I'm constant. This is back in the day when they were spinning vinyl.
You're
So I'm
breaking up. Hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. No, it's probably my internet. Pause for a second.
yeah.
Plus. I'm working with my trick. Okay, that's I see another participant. I think Sally's still waiting there.
Oh no.
Mm, I think she's in the I don't know if she was still in the waiting room, but oh my God.
Oh,
Hold on. Don't report. Just help. Oh, I let my eye wander from you. Okay, I'm back. You have my attention.
yeah.
That's over. That's over. And just say your last sentence again so I can land with you. If you can remember close to what you were
Yeah. No. No, see, it's doing it.
I'm my internet. It's that's what's happening. Some internet is lagging.
It still is on your end. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Go ahead. At least our audio is working. Yeah.
Okay. So just as far as just setting the background, that was 20 years of just habit forming. And oh, that's what I was saying. When I would come to a dance in a club, I would set out the intention, and it would be to come to dance. That was it. I mean, of course, to connect with friends, have a great time with wife.
Hey,
But
breaking. Well, it's always done. We finally get everything working. And I don't know. Cutting out. My guess is computer at 7:30 at night, and my particular squeeze me down. And I don't think Chris can maybe even hear me. All right, so you cut out a little bit. Start again with your intention. Beacon up.
I'm fingers crossed. I'm waiting for you to stop breaking up. How am I doing right now?
Yeah, it's still breaking.
Yeah.
Well, let's just take a pause. This is fine. Actually, I like long pauses because they give me a chance to sort of reflect and digest. I can get lost in the pauses too. What came first off is my appreciation for you sharing so generously with me so I can know you better and know this part of yourself and your life. And so I'm eager for you to continue as long as we have technology on our side.
I know, right? That's gonna be the only struggle is yeah. Let's see.
Yeah.
So far, so good. Am I not breaking up?
No,
All
I think
right,
you're
all right,
okay.
okay, all right, okay.
Let's
Maybe it was
go
just a
in.
little.
Let's
We just had to
go.
write it. Yeah, we just had to
Yeah.
write it. Yeah,
It
a
was
little
a bit
slow up in
stormy,
traffic.
but
Gotta get on the bridge. It's like get the fast track out. All right.
We're
So
still on intention if you want to go there.
setting an intention for dance would be to come to dance and dance as hard as I can and work out as hard as I can and to enjoy the music because I love electronic music and I love hearing DJs mix and hearing them spin and blend and just doing a total beat count and just I listen to every single track like that, like I'm totally into the music. And that's why I'm so into electronic music. It's just because I've listened to it my whole life.
Yeah, you're a
And also,
connoisseur, Chris. You're a connoisseur, just like someone who I'm interrupting you, but just like
no,
someone
go
who
ahead.
listens to hours and hours and hours of classical music and they can hear every nuance. That's your level of kind of connoisseur mastery of what you're hearing. And no wonder you have really specific and I would say, I don't want to use the word educated, but something like that, taste. You come from a lot of uh, experience of listening. And so you've refined your capacity to hear really uh, let's call it. That's not the right word, but with refinement. I already said that word. I could say it again. Yeah. So
It's the little subtle nuances. Yeah, I listen for because you notice it because when they drop the beat and they hit it just right, it's a feeling. It just kind of just goes off in the body and it's just amazing. I mean, talk about listening to your gut. When I hear that happen, it's just like, oh, good job.
Yeah.
Am I still breaking up?
Heard it with my body. Words broke. Now
You're
I'm
breaking up
breaking. I can
now.
see and see
Yeah.
and see and see.
I know, right? Yeah, we should just
Well, at
fuck
least
off
that
the rest of
wasn't
the
my
podcast.
water that I just
Yeah.
almost,
Dance.
dumped again. It's over here.
Yeah.
I did have a thought, so that came, but what was it? It was so not important. It was kind of loop you back to when you feel home. Like when they hit the beat and it's just right, your whole nervous system and body goes, "Ah," like it savors and it drops in. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
just savor the daylights out of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're in there just like being nourished by some comfortable doing and very familiar with the atmosphere and the whole, like how it works and how your body takes it in. And, so it's a rich experience. It seems to, and it's like going wine tasting, only dance tasting, right? Yeah, got it. And that's
Yeah.
your intention. It's to like really, it's like sitting in a music concert. You're not there to meet someone. You're there to like, yeah, get it.
Yeah, you're still breaking up a fair amount.
Mm,
I heard pretty much like
mm.
95% of that though.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
you're
I
on point.
think yeah, I usually do get you, so I think I'm going to assume I did that. And Sally's still trying to knock on the door. I keep telling her to go away. It's too funny. But we don't need to know that. I don't think that's affecting. But is here for both of her. Broadband
It's
band break right now. Just a short one, hopefully.
hmm.
I prove my take a couple weeks, but I'm gonna hopefully we'll see. Service folks and Chris. Chance. Do I sound now, Chris? No,
I'm sorry. Yeah, you've been breaking up the whole time. I didn't catch any of that.
tell me. It, it's okay. To do. This is solved before. Well, normally I would, but you can't broadcast because all the music's copyrighted. So I don't know if anybody can hear me. I know Chris can't. I can hear me, but whatever that's worth.
I heard that.
Yeah, he can't hear. You did.
Ironically enough,
Okay.
now I heard that. Yeah.
Okay. Let's take one more shot at it and see what happens, because there's another piece I want to connect this to, if possible. Just not
Yeah,
sort of like
that's
bring it back into, and it's a piece you mentioned that maybe I want to just resonate and kind of validate with, or validate. You mentioned like, well, maybe I've never really learned to partner dance or practiced it or found a way that's part of what I do and I feel good about. And so when I'm in a new environment, skill, and I have that confidence, to some degree, so I play with it with e- e- wife, partner, it, or freestyle dance, you mill. I know you can't, ecstatic dance, you just really, whoever acknowledges they're available is available to interact with, whether from a distance, whether up close, whether with touch. These are all sort of questions, like a little eye contact. If the person makes a little eye contact back, it's like, oh, okay, I've been acknowledged. Now, if I move a little closer, do they move away or do they stay there or do they move a little closer? Okay, second signal, and each one of these is sort of uh, an incremental, a communication that either says, yes, come closer, or no, thank you.
hmm.
And so it is about inviting and seeing if there's consent and finding where do our spheres overlap? Do they overlap at all? Do we need to be far apart? And can we, once we find some trust, can we experiment with even maybe overlapping haven't before? And so I think that is pretty I'm imagining myself walking into some, even a club, and I've never been in a club before, and I'm a little like, I don't know, I don't feel, I don't know if a club's a good example. Let's say something, I go off, even let's say a camping trip, and I don't know how to camp, and I just don't, I can't quite bring my whole easy, confident self when I don't know what I'm doing, when I haven't, like, it's a brand new skill, it's a brand new experience. So that would certainly, I think, whether you're interested, and also you already have a deep comfort zone, and an intention. You come in with this other thing that's really working for you, why mess it up?
I'm happy.
With something that, yeah, exactly. You are. I wonder if I'm a bit of an inter. I'll say it again, an instigator, or like a catalyst, or like, you're comfortable here, but what if I push that hard? Just like a little bit of, I'm a sort of a tester. You know, so here's your comfort zone. What if we go a little bit farther? What happens? And I think I do it to myself all the time. Like, here I am, every single podcast, I add one new layer that I don't know what I'm doing.
That's how you figure stuff out.
And
that's how you evolve.
it's part of my temperament, I think. I'm kind of easily
Yeah.
like, no, I already know this. I need more to stay engaged. Like, little...
Funny.
Yeah, it's not like I get bored, but maybe that is a word for it. I get like, oh, well, yeah, so I know this. What don't I know? I want some novelty, something new that's maybe not necessarily scary, but certainly untried, and might hold goodies.
Which I would say that's actually what I really love about particularly. No, nothing. Can't hear me.
I can't hear you at all.
At all.
But you sort of heard me. I don't
heard
think it's
you.
your,
Yeah.
It could be my machine. I wonder if it's the water that got to my machine. I hope not. I spilled water into my computer area earlier, and
Test one. How about now?
I'm not feeling it like before. It was like the internet, because it was freezing in the picture too, but now it's just sound free.
So you can't hear me say
maybe
rubber baby buggy bumper?
You can hear me.
I
Can
can
you hear
hear
me?
you.
Put your finger up like this if you can. Okay. All right. Let me just, maybe I'll abandon the headset. It could be that. I don't think it is. I think it is, because the headset is plugged into where no water can go. Can you hear me crowing? No.
I did. I heard
I
that.
can hear that. All right. We're just going to pause. I'm going to do something I don't think is going to work at all, but maybe it will. I'm just going to change my entire volume settings and see if I can. Yeah, you can dance. You can move, whatever you need to do. I am now focused onto the computer, trying to do stuff without my glasses, which doesn't work. I love it, Zach. Keep going. That's good. Keep it up. Built-in headphones, and then talk.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's working. Now I hear you.
All right. Now you hear me.
Headset, folks. Probably just died. One more thing. Oh, and look, I have little cute hair now that I can see myself. All right, so we're going to do taquito. If you're listening live and you want to share this with somebody later, I'll see if I can go in and just like chop out the parts that aren't there. But for now, we're just going to keep going. And you're going to have to bring me in, because wherever you started talking that I couldn't hear, where was it? Let's see.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, you were just kind of mentioning how that's part of a fabric of your nature, how to just kind of like test a little more, try a little more. You kind of reach a capacity, and you're like, all right, I want to learn something new. Let's try something new. And I just wanted to edify that and say that that's something I feel we have in common, and particularly on the dance floor. And that's also why I like to dance by myself, is because I love freestyle, but I just constantly try to make up new moves all the time, constantly trying to evolve the dance steps and everything like that. So that's just like all time that I want to spend totally
wow.
getting. But the important part about the background is that it's only telling half the story. And I think we've only got about 5 more minutes. So
I think we should go ahead and keep going if you have the
okay,
capacity. Mostly
I
because
do.
stuff got. Okay, let's just keep going and
I
go
do,
up to the
because it's
hour.
kind of it's actually really important.
Yeah,
So
let's go up to
the
the hour.
one of the parts that I really did not like about the nightclub were the lack of cognizance of other dancers. And it wasn't any particular group or type or anything like that. They came in all forms, and it's not like I'm anything special or what have you. But you kind of get in your dance space and you're kind of in your comfort zone and you're not taking up too much room and you're good. You'll have other people who will just start to dance right in, just boom, dance right into you. And they always do it. And I don't know why, it's just I think it's a common human habit of sorts to just kind of like test the waters. But what they would do is they would take a couple steps forward and a couple steps back. And I would always be very generous about it and be like, you know what, I'm going to give them more room. They want more room. But I swear people think that they know that, and they start to prey on that. And so the more I would back up,
The more
the
they would
more
take.
they'd step in, the more that they would take. And then the one thing I hated in the club were those fucking dance circles. Hate them. But they're just
Now
rude.
we're a whole group of people make a circle and they're
Make a
in a
circle,
circle and
block
everybody else
everybody
is,
out, and then it's just one person dancing in the middle. And
oh, in the center.
yeah, and it's just and I'm sorry to come across like that, but it's just a couple decades of like, really, okay, maybe for a little while, but when you're just like taking up the whole night, it's like not cool. And then so anyway, so I would get really tired of those experiences, but then I would just do my own thing back, and then I would just turn my back the other way so I couldn't see them. And then it was just nothing but feet and elbows, and eventually they'd come in good for a nice elbow and they wouldn't do it anymore. So
Oh,
I just started
they
just
come in, you stopped making room for them and said like, I'm creating a boundary here. Is that what you're saying? By feet and
yeah,
elbows, like I'm claiming this space and you're not getting it from me,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
I've had enough. I was polite, I was considerate, and you are not considerate.
And I'm not having it.
Maybe,
So I'm going to be
yeah,
not considerate too. I'm just
yeah,
basically going
yeah,
to step down to your level,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and again, this isn't like, I mean, and I think you know this about me. I'm just kind of
Oh yeah,
expressing what's going on in my mind.
yeah.
But nothing makes me any more right or any more wrong or anything like that. It's just my personal shared experience. So then I come into the ecstatic dance world, and then I got to discover this whole world of frickin' contact dancers. And it was primarily, and it's funny, primarily at Sweets Ballroom is where it really was, and both Sunday morning and Wednesday night. But like the contact dancing, more often than not, like pretty much any not positive experience that I've had ever at ecstatic dance in a brick and mortar
Yeah.
has been contact dancers.
Yeah.
Because they do the same damn thing,
Yeah.
and they just keep giving, they keep taking, and you keep giving, and they keep taking. And then now, like, hands are flying and feet are flying, and it's like I've gotten whacked in the back of the head, I've gotten kicked in the chest, and I'm going to turn the other cheek. I'm not going to bring that bullshit from the club that I used to do into ecstatic
Right,
dance. Absolutely not. I'm just going
right.
to check. I'm just going to check out of the area.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I want to make that very
Agreed.
clear too. I
And
checked
there's
that
room.
attitude behind. Yeah,
No.
there's always going to be more room.
Well, okay. Can I respond with a couple of things? I really appreciate. Yeah, let's take a moment.
Yeah, let me think about this for a minute just to make
sure.
sure I kind of like
Yeah,
nailed it
take more
home,
time
which is
if you need it.
yeah, so I do. And I'm just going to wrap it up with this
Oh,
point.
that's fine.
And so the reason I don't get into contact dance is I don't want to become the one thing that I can't freaking stand.
Got
Sorry.
it. So clear.
Sorry.
So clear. So
You
clear.
know,
And
and again,
I'm 100% with you,
yeah,
Chris. I am 100%. I have some ideas about what you said, but or and I've been where you are in both cases when people just keep, invading, and I don't think of it as really lowering to my level. I'm like, all right, if the only thing you understand is brute force, then that's what I'll give you, because you've shown me that's the only language you understand. Okay, there it is. Boom. Like last resort. Which reminds me of a story, but I want to respond to you first. We'll see if this story is there. It's kind of an outrageous version of that I went through. But let me say something about contact improvisation dance. And it sounds like you've only experienced it in the ecstatic dance arena. So contact improvisation dance, when done as a practice, is like walking into a dojo. And it's like a martial arts. And it's incredibly sensitive, considerate, respectful, listening, you know. And so what you see on ecstatic dance floors are not contact dancers. You see people who dabbled maybe in a tiny bit of what contact is, and then their egos are flying all over the room as they're trying to sort of show off. Maybe I'm projecting that. This is the commonality I see. Same thing when I see a circle and then people go into the center. I call these people peacocks that need to go in the center and have all the attention, you know, because somehow, for whatever reason, they don't get enough attention and they just crave, you know, and then maybe you have a whole circle of people like that. They all want their turn, or I don't know what it is, but I work with circles a little in my work teaching, but it's completely different. I invite people into the center who would normally wilt under attention to see if they can experience the people on the ring actually saying, let us give you positive attention. See if you can receive it as appreciation, you know, and it's not clapping or competitive or anything like that. It's not the, you know, to make your ego even bigger. It's about just trying, you know, helping you see that part of attention can be positive and not just negative. Why I say negative is either too much praise is negative and too much blame or condemnation is also negative. Any kind of negative attention or too much positive attention really just teaches us about sort of reward and punishment. It doesn't really teach us who we are at all. It's this overlay. So now we perform for the clapping, and we still don't just do it because we're full of life and expression, right? So I'm on board with you. I could talk for hours, but I walk away from the circus also. I don't want to be on the edge, feeding somebody's sort of dysfunctional ego, nor do I think I want to be in the center, you know, sucking up idolatry or whatever that is at that point. Okay, so that, and so those are the kind of the 2 points. One was, you know, creating space. And I do think, you know, I often will, even at ecstatic dance, I will see 2 people often in contact get so wild that they are completely unsafe. I can feel it the minute it happens. And, you know, sometimes I'll actually dive in and bring their dance to the floor, you know, like my own way, like in this kind of Aikido way. And sometimes I'll just, in the moment I see it, I'll create space because I'm trying to help everybody else not get hurt in that moment because they're so unconsciously doing their, you know, their self-involved dance that they are not considerate for sure, and they're not aware. It's an awareness. No fun for me. And so I guess part of that is if you really knew what contact dance was in the way I know it, it might give you a different window and of appreciation. Not necessarily that you want to do it. You may or may not want to learn it. but it's a very, very, very considerate, very deeply responsive. And I've been in contact jams that were size, where you would think maybe 3 sets of people could dance safely, and there'll be 15 sets of people and no one gets hurt or touched. There's that much awareness, peripheral awareness, and ability. And it's not like everybody's going slow either. It's just even the big dancing is very skilled and very aware. So yeah, so I want to say that.
Yeah, and there have been times, just recognizing that point, that even in Oakland, that I have seen just the most amazing like contact dance. Like, I know I kind of bagged on them a little bit, but if you hear me talk about contact dancing to like the general non-ecstatic dance world, I give it quite some glorious praise. This is just,
Oh yeah,
you decided to elicit this out of me, so fucking
okay.
here I am to share what's going on up here, but
Well,
it's
they're
not
both
something
true,
I profess. Yeah, but that's
you've
not something
seen
that I
both
project.
sides of that. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, I remember one time where it was these 3 guys and they were like incredibly fit, like I would say a pretty tall statute, and they were flinging each other around, but all in a fair amount of area, but no, like all completely within control. Like everybody was cognizant of their surroundings, and it blew my mind away the level of talent that these guys exude with contact dancing to keep it that well in control, yet that out of control at the same time. So
Right.
I do want to admire that. And to be honest, I see it more at Sweets. Sweets is more kind of like the, kind of like the mosh pit of contact dancing. But Fairfax, not so much. Fairfax,
Right.
everybody's all super chill out there, but
Right.
it's just kind of a different vibe.
Yeah. It does depend on kind of how the space is held and who shows up. And if no one ever draws a line to that really dangerous and calls somebody out and says, "Hey, not here," then it can fester in a sense of way. It's like kind of a permission. So I was never really officially engaged to keep that dance floor safe, but I took it on anyway. That's just part of who I am, and especially since I know contact dance and I know the minute I can see it where it's dangerous, or that kind of, let's call it physical. It's more like rough and tumble play with people that are just out, don't have the skill levels they need to be able to do that, especially in a mixed environment like that. If they have the whole, outside on the grass somewhere and they're just playing with themselves, fine, they can injure themselves and, take up a lot of room.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
It is what you get when you go. And so, and it does even speak to, I think, kind of almost a lesson to me that you were talking about is you're an agreeable person. You're a nice guy and you like to, say, yeah, here, have some space or have this or have my food or let me give you a ride. You're generous. But people will take advantage of that and walk on it. And so the other side, one needs to develop that strong sense of, claiming where the no is as well.
Right. In conjunction with that point, I also like to, this is my personal approach. I'm not telling other people this is what they should do, but it's my problem. It's not something that I'm like, you're doing this wrong, you got to do this different, stop contact dancing like that. No, it's my problem and I need to deal with it, and I need to deal with it like a grown adult.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I just walk away, if it's getting too crazy. And in their defense, I like real estate and I'm always dancing in the areas that's popular for contact dance. So I feel like I'm kind of like in their territory too. So, not intentionally, but I'm just saying that's where the best real estate is, because I too like to use it, but I also want to be very careful and not like, run into anybody, because that's not.
Yeah, it's kind of called consideration that way. And they do, I have heard contactors say, the contact area in the back of Suites. Well, there's no line there that says this is the contact area, that's. It's like, yeah, okay. Until, right.
One of the areas. Come on.
It's an area where contact can take place and no one owns it. And it doesn't have like a line saying contact is practiced in here, stay out, unless, none of that. That's all, and that happens through repetition and habit, but then people, can take like sort of ownership. Like, wait, this is, the contact area. Oh, really? Does it say that when you walk in the front door that this is the,
Is that what the tape means?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't realize it.
you know what your elbow in my eye means when I get close?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, goodness.
Well, I know we're close to the time now, and I want to share this story with a little bit of time because it's kind of wild. And I've told this story and had people just give me the eyes of shock, like, you fucking did what? So, but it kind of fits right in this conversation, at least for me. And I'm actually proud of myself for this, believe it or not. I was at it wasn't an ecstatic dance. It was one of the dances in Berkeley that are ecstatic dance like years ago. And, of course, you know me, I am very open and available and, I dance with people. And so I danced with this man, new guy I hadn't seen, and the place is crowded, the dance is happening and I'm enjoying myself. But then it's like, I move away, I end that dance and I go over here and then here he is. And I'm like, oh. And then I like don't really dance with him, but I find someone, I move away, and then here he is. He's like everywhere I went on the dance floor, he was like right there. And I tried to like look at him and look away. I tried to sort of make an arm motion. I kept moving away. I did, through this evening, I tried for about 45 minutes trying to sort of give this guy this message that I didn't want to dance with him again. And I didn't appreciate that he kept sort of being in my space there, And finally, and the music was loud, and I was like at the end, and I was like, what else do I have? I turned, he's there. I was walking away. I turned around and went, stop stalking me. I shouted it right in his face. And it's like, you start with a tap, and then you do a nudge, and at the end you take a 2x4 and just whack the donkey across the head, right? Maybe you'll understand it. So, it's a story I've told to my students, like you start small, incrementally saying no until you get to the place where it's effective.
That's when you listen to that gut.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And did it work?
Yeah. He just went, his eyes
did.
got this big. He was like, I never saw him again. I don't think he ever came back to the dance. It was like, I blew him out of the room. Oh, well, right?
It happens.
Yeah. And there aren't, when you walk in a dance like that, there isn't guidelines. This is what you should do. This is what you shouldn't do. It's sort of, it's up to each person pretty much, aside from not talking and not wearing shoes, the kind of few guidelines that are given to figure out how to be in that environment in a way that kind of works for everyone and satisfies us and, doesn't depend on other people and, it's like real life.
It's a learning process.
Yeah. And each environment's a little different, like you said, each dance.
Cyclical. Cyclical.
There you go. Cyclical.
That's what it is. That's cyclical. Yeah.
Cyclical.
I don't know why I keep wanting to say circular.
Yeah, that's where
circular. Yeah, but it's
circularity or
based
cyclical.
on a cycle. Cyclical.
Cycle. Yeah. There you go. Good for you. Ting, ka-ching.
Yay, I just had to get in there just in case I forget it again so I can watch the recording.
You better worry about it. No.
I know, right? I better stress about it.
Yeah, stress about it.
Oh, man. Well, I'm glad the
yeah. And I don't know, but I suspect it's water. The salt water.
Oh, I didn't think
part of what I was saying.
Okay.
When you couldn't hear me, I'm like, maybe it's the salt water, now. And I bet that's
quickly
it.
I just went, kind of just farted that out of my mind. Wow, that's right.
I'm like, wait. But yeah, it was my disaster. I'm the one that stressed. It was like getting towels out and trying to mop up all this stuff. So hopefully things sorts out.
This is my
problem. It did. Hey,
No, it worked. It worked. It worked out.
Yeah.
I was wondering if we were going to have to call it quits. And I was like, oh, I kind of wanted to finish my point there, but no,
Yeah,
I guess
I
not.
know. And I'm
Yeah,
like, here, and you could hear me. So I think, I don't know if, anyway, who knows what it was. Could be one of a myriad of things when you're dealing with electronics, but hopefully it'll be solved by next week. And I want to thank you for this gorgeous trip, this ride, this lovely, deep. I'm so glad I asked and that you were so forthcoming and transparent. And, you know, this is why you're here with me, Chris, because you're just real and available. And
yeah, well, you get me. You
yeah,
get me.
I do.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, back at you. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's mutual. All right. So I guess we're home and we're here and we'll sign off and we'll see you, whoever's been listening, if you made it and you didn't give up next week at the same time. Wait, Chris, is it the same time next week?
Yes, it is the same time next
Okay.
week.
So you can do 7 o'clock next week?
Yes, yeah, it's recurring in the calendar now. Yeah, I mean, and
Okay.
I'll double check once I get off the phone, but I'm
I
like,
was just saying you had some meeting. We had to do a 5 o'clock once. And so
oh
I hope that's
no,
not
because
tonight.
it's
I
the
think
first
it's
of the month.
next week.
Oh no, you know what? That's right. Gosh,
I think
thank you,
it's
because
okay,
it's the
but I
first.
think it's next week. Yeah.
I super appreciate that. I need a, yeah, it's the
No, it's
first
okay.
Tuesday,
Don't worry.
Tuesday of every month. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I
Yeah.
may do one of two
Thank
things.
you.
I may either do us at 5 or I might call in a guest. I'll probably just stay with you, but just so you know, I'll let you know. Might have somebody else at 7 instead and give you a break. I don't know. It's all make
Okay.
it up as I go. All right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So
Yay.
road trip to Fairfax is continuing into eternity because it never ends. All right, let's do our thing.
Let's do our thing.
Yo, baby.
Wait, there it is.